Good afternoon. I want to thank you, those who are joining for the webinar that we're putting on today. We're going to be talking about the future of mobility and how we see the guide to helping you navigate the professional landscape. So I want to welcome you. Since 1896, when Henry Ford introduced the first vehicle, there's been really not a more exciting time in automotive than what we're seeing now. I mean, we're experiencing unprecedented disruptive changes not only in technology, but in passenger and freight and construction vehicles, an entire shift in the way we as humans interact with our modes of transportation. So we want to give you an insight into that today and talk about what it not only means for the entire automotive market, but how people can take advantage of it if they acquire the right skills and start down the right path to employment. So my name is Mike Verkamp. I'm president of LHPU. LHPU is a engineering training company. We provide training and career pathways to engineers, recently graduated engineers, experienced engineers that really want to engage in new technology and pivot in their career or really have that leg up. And so our entire team is focused on one thing, and that's training you and engineering graduates like you or students like you to provide that pathway. And we're not finished until we see careers being launched, and that's our ultimate goal. Sarah McClellan is on as well. She is the operations director for LHPU, and she is pretty much responsible, her and her team, for putting on the classes and creating the experience that our students enjoy while they come through class. And John Standiford, he's on with us today as well. His responsibility is all about supporting you and those like you in the admissions into the program, and career placement manager. He's been very successful at helping launch careers. And then we also have someone joining us, a recent graduate from one of our courses, so that you can perhaps get a firsthand account of what her experience was and what maybe she would have to say. So I want you to think about this question. What do you think about when you hear, quote, the future of mobility? I'm sure many of you are thinking Tesla. I know that I immediately thought of Tesla. Well, that's probably a pretty good thought. So not too long ago, Tesla was barely on the radar screen, and now you can see they're the largest by far market capitalization of automotive companies in the world. 3 times the size of Toyota, over 10 times the size of General Motors. That was unheard of just 5 years ago. So if that much can change in 5 years, what do you think is going to change in the next 5 to 10 years? Well, I'd like to share with you a couple of recent announcements that might give some insight. Companies that you probably have maybe barely heard of, not heard of at all, or maybe you've been following them, I don't know. But a company called Motional and Lyft, you know about Lyft, I'm sure. They recently announced an agreement to deploy a fully driverless multi-market rideshare service. Motional is an Aptiv Hyundai $4 billion joint venture, and they're growing, they're hiring, they're really one of the future forces within the automotive landscape. Cruise Automation, GM partnered with Cruise Automation and recently invested $2.5 billion in Michigan to develop and deploy fully electric autonomous vehicles. Cruise was a startup several years ago, and now is a crucial part of General Motors' future business plan. Amazon, I mean, everybody knows Amazon. They purchased a company called Zoox. Zoox recently debuted their fully driverless vehicle that's built for ride hailing. It's a carriage style vehicle. Means that passengers face each other. There's no space for a driver or passenger seat, since there's there's no steering wheel. So even companies like Amazon are all getting into the game. Then you think about freight. VW's, the Traton Group, they just struck a deal with a company called Too Simple out of Arizona. Too Simple is developing a fully autonomous fleet of trucks, and they've struck this agreement between the two companies. And matter of fact, VW took an investment equity share in Too Simple. Waymo, I'm sure you've heard Waymo, the company with Google or Alphabet. They're developing autonomous trucking applications as well. And then you have other autonomous trucking firms, one called Plus, preparing to launch in China in 2021. Navistar teaming up with Too Simple. I guess my point here is that, you know, autonomous mobility isn't simply a passenger vehicle out on the road. It's much, much more. For instance, smart agriculture. One of the fastest growing areas of autonomy right now is in smart agriculture. According to Grandview Research, smart ag is predicted to grow at a compounded growth rate of over 12% through 2025. That will only accelerate as technology is developed. It is one of the really early adopters of this type of technology. And then there's certain things that are driving that. One, there's less risk. You know, driving passenger vehicles comes with a set of inherent risk. Agriculture can adopt this and can have tremendous impact on the ability to feed the world as population grows and the need for productive farms grow. Absolutely, autonomous technology is going to play a critical role in our ability to produce enough food for the entire world. So this is just another area that is absolutely adopting many of the technologies that we see. So I want to talk a little bit about. Let's go back to some data that we've been looking at. So this is a report from a company called Deloitte. They do a lot of market analysis, and they just produced this data last year. In 2020, we just talked about the rideshare services that I talked about earlier were introduced, and it's predicted that a level 4 or level 5 autonomous passenger vehicle will be introduced by 2022. Their data indicates that by 2025, shared driver-driven vehicles will account for 10% of all miles driven. So you can see that orange and the blue. The orange is the shared mobility services. The dark blue is the shared autonomous. That'll account for over 10% of all miles driven. Let's look out 2030, 2035. By 2040, all accounts are predicting that over 80% of the miles driven in the US and globally will be shared mobility. So you can see the shared driver-driven portion, the orange, stays pretty relatively constant from 2030. What is changing though? This idea of shared autonomous, robo-taxis, hailing services. That's the future of mobility right there. The ability to, on demand, find an autonomous vehicle to pick you up, take you where you need to go, efficiently move people around. People are trending toward not even owning vehicles anymore. As you can see, the light blue, that's the portion of personally owned driver-driven. You know, right now it's 90%. In 2015, it was nearly 100%. Now it's 95% is still personally driven vehicles. What's that lead to? It leads to congestion, it leads to accidents, it leads to all these issues that we experience with the proliferation of personal vehicles on the road. And there's nothing wrong with personal vehicles. It's just the technology has put us in this situation. By 2040, the expectation is that's could fall to 20% of total miles driven. What does that mean? It means that our entire relationship with the automobile is changing, and we need to be prepared for it. So what does this mean for engineers of the future? Boston Consulting Group has done some studies, and they've said that self-driving and electric cars will help create more than 100,000 US mobility jobs. And the key finding they had was the demand for engineering talent could be as much as 6 times the expected number of graduates. That's quite a gap. That's quite a skills gap that we're going to be looking at in the marketplace. And today it's there's already a skills gap. So as technology continues to accelerate, the limiting factor will be the ability of companies to find the talent to deploy and integrate this technology. And the old paradigms of simply getting a 4 or 6 year degree and going out and getting hired, that's changing as well. As the market for mobility, as we described, changes, the market for talent to support the changes is changing as well. So the top skills, according to Indeed is the largest #1 job site in the world. They have over 250 million unique visitors every month. They're saying programming skills, C, C++, Python, among others. They're also saying that image processing, so the ability to have a sensor and process an image and process a signal, sensor fusion, the ability to write code to decipher which sensor is predominant, which one will be the leading sensor on the decision-making process, artificial intelligence, machine learning. All these things are becoming more and more prominent in the skill search that we're seeing. I recently read an article that C++, as old as it is, I think it's 2000. I mean, it's a very old language. It's now the fastest growing programming code today, and it's all about embedded systems that use C++, C and C++. It's a very efficient platform for embedded controls. It's no surprise that it's only going to continue to increase. Python is used a lot in the development cycle for embedded systems and autonomous controls. It's going to continue to grow. So these two programming languages, along with the skills and the ability to understand the hardware and software, how it integrates together to enable autonomy, those are the ones that are going to be in demand as we go forward. So there's a lot of different opportunities I think people have, unprecedented opportunities in terms of how do you gain skills. I mean, we've just seen that, online learning has taken a huge jump because of the pandemic. It's no secret that that's happened. But several studies, and I'm reading some articles, that an online course certificate, while nothing wrong with it, does not create a great self-driving engineer. According to this study, employers are looking for more than just a generalist, but they have to develop competency in computer vision, localization, vehicle control systems, drive-by-wire, vehicle dynamics. These skills are best developed through experiential learning, wrestling with a technological challenge, a mechatronic challenge, inherent to solve these problems. There's many options, like I say. However, autonomous vehicles are complex systems. They require teams of multidisciplinary engineering teams to collaborate together. And that's how we find people learn the most, is by doing, by engaging, by experiencing, and overcoming challenges. So At LHPU, we really have several avenues that we deliver training and really put people in the best possible position for reaching their career goals. First one I want to talk about is our Intro to Autonomous Mobility training class. This is a 9-week immersive training class. You go through a cohort of students, a very broad array of engineering disciplines that you'll go through. In Module 1, you'll learn all about robot operating system, how it provides flexible and unified software environment. You'll get to know about Python programming, and you'll get introduced to sonar. Module 2, 3, and 4, you'll learn about LiDAR, radar, computer vision, how they act as the eyes of the self-driving vehicle, how it provides a 360-degree view, localization, detection of static and dynamic objects. And you don't just learn it by hearing lectures on it or hearing videos. You learn it by actually getting your hands on the hardware, learning to program it, seeing how it affects the components of the vehicle, learning how computer vision and detecting an object can control a vehicle through braking, through acceleration, through steering. And you'll get a very deep understanding of these technologies. In Module 5, you'll learn all about machine learning and computer vision, how the concepts are being used in autonomous vehicles. You'll focus on deep learning and how machine learning goes hand in hand with perception. It's a key feature in autonomy, and it's one that is really not fully understood by a lot of engineers that are getting into these types of careers. We're going to introduce you to that. We're going to give you the opportunity to write your models and write your code so that you can develop a deep understanding of machine learning. You'll gain an understanding in Module 6. You'll understand coordinate systems of GPS, map making, necessary formulas. You'll take a deep dive into the GNSS system. You'll understand how it controls a vehicle through localization and why it's a key enabler of autonomous mobility. In Module 7, you're going to get on the vehicle components. You're going to learn the drive-by-wire, how it enables the vehicles through actuating the hardware, writing your code and uploading it to the control units, how it affects cruise control, anti-lock brakes, traction control, and stability control. So in Module 8, we pull it all together. You'll create models in sensor fusion, path planning, vehicle control. You'll use MATLAB Simulink as a model-based development tool. You'll use CarSim, which is an industry-leading simulation platform used at all the OEMs and all the tier ones, fully understanding the capabilities and developing your models for sensor fusion and path planning. And then finally, in Module 9, you're going to be working on a project on an actual autonomous electric vehicle. You're going to work with a team of engineers. You're going to program the full-size autonomous vehicle. You're going to get it to navigate. We might ask you to integrate a new sensor. We might ask you to enhance the vehicle control system. We might ask you to improve the ability to navigate through an autonomous system. You won't know, but you'll have a challenge, and you'll have the ability to apply all of your learning, your background, and your understanding to solve a problem. And in the end, we have a celebration. And you get to present your findings. You get to put together a project report, and colleagues will come in, customers will come in, hiring managers. You'll have the ability to get in front of many important decision makers and talk about your experience. Here you can see from the last class, the group, that's the vehicle that we have right now. And each one of these right now of these students has graduated from the course and is either currently in an internship role with LHP or has gone on to a full-time career that we helped facilitate their walk toward that career. And John will talk about that a little bit later. But I think if you would ask any of them, you would get the response that this was a life-changing experience. It was a transformational experience for them. The other training I want to make sure that I talk about is a training that we've had for a number of years. It's our fundamentals of automotive functional safety using ISO 26262. Focuses on several main areas. One, throughout the course, you'll understand the principles of functional safety. You'll understand how engine controls work, the theory. You'll generate your code and the application, understand the communication of CAN J1939, how to calibrate an engine and tune an engine. And through the entire process, we use the Agile Scrum process for development. Through the entire course, you are working with a team to learn from each other. And each week during the team, one person has the job to lead the team and step up, maybe because they have a particular skill. So it's really true what you might have heard, that the best way to learn is to teach, and we encourage that. We encourage this environment where people are teaching each other, and you're learning, and you're learning to work on a team. I mean, essentially, that's what you're going to be paid to do when you get into a company. You're going to be called to step up, and we put you in that environment that can help you do that. I did want to point out that every course that we run at LHPU is certified by IEEE. Here you can see a certificate of one of our recent graduates. 24 continuing education units, and you have a certificate. IEEE has it on file. You get the certificate to keep. It's well respected. IEEE is the largest certifying engineering body in the world, and we wanted to make sure that we partnered with a credible organization such as IEEE, and make sure that we are meeting their standards. Did want to talk about our instructors. A lot of prospective students want to know, well, who teaches the class? Well, Dr. Xiaoshan Liu is one of our instructors. He founded Percepton. That's the company of the vehicle platform. He has over 10 years of experience in leading R&D organizations at Baidu and LinkedIn, Microsoft. He has a PhD in computer engineering from Irvine, California, University of California. He's written numerous textbooks, and he's a senior member of IEEE, and he's a distinguished speaker of the IEEE Computer Society. And we're very pleased to have Dr. Xiaoshan Liu on our staff as one of our partners and instructors. Eric Bradley focuses a lot on model-based design and vehicle dynamics and drive-by-wire. He has over 30 years of experience in the design and development of mechatronic control systems. He was a pioneer user of MATLAB and Simulink, and he was the developer of Motohawk toolset for Simulink that allowed the direct development and deployment of Simulink in ECUs. He's got a BS EE and MS EE and MS management degrees. He's a member of the LHP board of directors. Interesting, he's a pilot, and he teaches flying lessons as well. Ed Hobson recently came onto our staff. He's run control groups for Cummins Engine Company. Recently, he led Cummins Advanced Dynamics and Controls Organization in research and technology. And in this role, he was engaged in their entire ADAS and autonomous technology development, partnering with the Department of Energy and ARPA. Ed's got numerous patents related to control systems and vehicle optimization strategies. He's got his BS engineering and MS engineering from Hartford, Rensselaer School Polytechnic Institute. And then there's Chris Doyle. He joined LHPU many years ago, but he has 25 years of industry experience, very adept in model-based design platforms, including MATLAB Simulink and Motohawk, LabVIEW, Veristan, DSpace. And Chris has a bachelor's and master's degree in mechanical engineering from Rose-Hulman. So that gives you an overview of the course, who teaches it, what you're going to learn, and why it's applicable to industry. But there's more to LHPU, and now I want to turn it over to Sarah McClellan, our ops director and one of our instructors for soft skills, and I want her to talk about why this part of the training is ultimately as important as the technology. Sarah?
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so yeah, I would love to talk to you about this particular component of the training. So there's a lot that I handle as a director of operations with LHPU, but my most favorite part of the job is to watch engineers grow throughout the time they're with us. And one of the unique things that we do is we don't just focus on the technical skills that an engineer is going to need in the workplace, but also the soft skills. So how do you get hired in and then go in and be a top performer and an employee, a teammate that everybody, enjoys working alongside of each day? So there are a few things that we'll do throughout the training, and one of those is resume prep. So we'll have engineers come in with a resume already, but we'll help guide them in how to make that the best document possible to generate interest in their skill set and their background. And then from there, when your resume is selected and someone calls you up for an interview, how do you walk into an interview room or sit on a video call with someone in an interview setting and adequately describe what you can bring to that engineering team or company? So what are your strongest assets? How do you handle your weaknesses? How do you highlight effectively all of your background, your previous roles, your internships, university project experiences? How do you package all of that up and tell your story as far as how you are as an engineer and how you can contribute to a team? We give you lots of opportunity to practice business, place, soft skills through teamwork, listening skills. How do you become assertive in certain situations? How do you communicate effectively? It's really a place for you to come in and apply your skill. It's a safe place to fail and to problem solve and to think critically and work through challenges. Definitely have seen so many engineers build their confidence throughout the training, and sometimes I'm just blown away by the end when they're giving their presentations, because it feels like they're a totally different engineer from when they walked in the door the first day. So that's just a little bit of what we do with the soft skills development. It's immersive right into the curriculum. We mix it in throughout the days of your technical training. Lots of opportunity for one-on-one sessions, for interviewing practice, mock interviews. And then, one of the real benefits to being part of the LHPU alumni group as well is even after the course is over and you are in your job search, we are a place of resource for you. So we'll have people contact us, our alumni, and say, I have an interview coming up. Can I do a practice interview? And we are so happy to do that. And, it's just a matter of sending us a job description, which resume you use to apply. We sit down, come up with appropriate questions, and just help get everybody prepared for those situations so you can go in with confidence and nail the interview. Even sometimes there's some things that will come up on a job, and we'll have alumni reach out and say, I need some advice. I need some guidance. How do I handle this situation? So again, we're just really here in your corner all along your career path. So
great.
Mike, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Sarah. I'd like to turn it over to John. John is our admissions coordinator. He's there to help you understand the course, but his real strength is in walking with you to help find that career. So I want to turn it over to John and have him talk about his experience and our successes. John?
Yep. Thanks a lot, Mike. I hope you all can see why LHPU is such a regarded training organization in the industry today. Not only are we going to help you advance in your technical career, but we're going to help you learn how to work in a team. We're going to help hone your soft skills. We're going to bring in the top trainers in the world to help you improve those skills as well. But I believe LHPU stands out by this number that you see. We are continually putting engineers in the workforce that create success for themselves. So since 2019, you can see we've trained less engineers than have received jobs. So we need to grow that pipeline and have more LHPU talent and alumni in the workforce so that our customers, not only businesses, but also our staffing firms that look to hire our LHPU candidates, have an opportunity to get more of that talent into their hands. So LHPU is, like I said, an organization that stands out with our customers. If you can think of OEMs and tier ones in the US, you'll see a lot of LHPU grads there. We have a lot of customers, and what I value the most is, as Sarah said before, you have engineers that come into LHPU that are very smart, have a lot of technical ability, but might not know how to work in a team or apply that in a situation that can help them be successful. And LHPU kind of brings that champion mindset out in each candidate and allows them to build a successful career off that. So I can remember my first 6 months maybe on the job, I was helping find engineers positions, and there's a lot of different set scenarios and situations for each candidate. But this particular candidate, his OPT situation was getting tight, and he was going to have to go back to his home country if he didn't get a job within the next couple weeks. And I can remember this day still now that he came into our team. Gave us all hugs, and he was crying, and he said, you know, I have a family, and today I want to come in here and tell you I got a job at Cummins, and I'm going to start, you know, next week. So I believe my job, I love it because I get an opportunity to help engineers not only be successful, but find their passion and begin work in their career that they enjoy and want to be in. So with that being said, I'll turn it back to Mike.
Yeah, thank you, John. I remember that recently we've had several engineers, and this is part of what Sarah referred to as being part of the LHPU alumni, that people want to change their career. They're looking for new. We're always here to walk through your entire career. I mean, we're willing to drop everything to help those that need help at the time. And I can tell you the most exciting days we have going to work are when we find people that are thriving in their careers, that have launched new careers. I mean, we're high-fiving, and that's why we do what we do. So I can't really highlight that enough, the work that John just described. So thank you, John. I did want to talk to you. It's probably a lot on your mind about what's the program all about, and cost is always a concern. I want to describe our unique tuition model. You can secure a spot in the class, and we do have a class actually starting next week in Columbus, and one the following week. Only $500, that'll secure your seat. You can defer your tuition until you secure full-time employment. We only ask for a $25 monthly payment to stay in our system. But until you reach full-time employment, you really don't have to start paying the bulk of the tuition back. And then we ask for a payment plan. There's no interest here. It's you pay as much as what the tuition is listed at. You don't pay a penny more in interest. And you know, we understand that many people get jobs before the class has even ended. Some it could take 6 months to a year, but we're very diligent about walking with you and trying to help you secure that full-time career. And the model that we have really removes the risk that we have that you're going to have, so you can take that off of the plate. So I wanted to make sure I talked about that. If you have more questions about that, you can reach out to us after the class here, or after the webinar. Give you an idea of upcoming course schedule. Really, there's 3 different classes that we offer. The Intro to Autonomous Mobility, I mentioned, next week in Columbus, Indiana. You see, we've got one starting next Tuesday. Another one in April and July and October. You'll be able to find these on our website. And then in Pontiac, Michigan, we have one launching March the 1st, and then in May, again in July, and then in October. We fully expect these to fill up. And I do want to say that we keep our classes small, maximum of 8 to 10 people. Several reasons for that. One, obviously the health concerns right now. We take every effort and every precaution to make sure that we are keeping safe environments. 2, the experience that you're going to get in a small class, the hands-on, the ability to work with our instructors and our TAs, we value that, and we want to make sure that you have every opportunity to have that one-on-one time. So we intentionally limit the classes. That's why we're not training right now 500, 600 people a year. I mean, we train intentionally small classes, but that gives us our ability also to focus on you as a student, and then you as a candidate to get a job. There's two fundamental of automotive functional safety control systems. One is a gasoline class that we run on a fully powered gasoline engine, where you learn to design a control strategy and learn about CAN, as I discussed earlier. We have one launching January 19th. That class is about filled up. There may be one slot, maybe 2 slots left. So we're going to soon be closing the enrollment on that. We'll have another one in March, as you can see, May, July, and September. Plenty of opportunity to get enrolled in one of our classes. And then the diesel class down in Columbus, right now we're only really planning to launch 2 of those, one in June and one in August. If there seems to be a lot of interest in that market in diesel class in Columbus, by all means, we would launch one of those classes as well. So with that, I would like to introduce Mrunmayee Dabhol. She recently attended one of our autonomous mobility classes, and we've invited her to come on. She's working actually now full-time with LHP. Mrunmayee, would you mind taking a few minutes to talk about your experience and maybe how it's, what impact it's had on your life?
Yes, sure, Mike. Thank you so much for having me here. Good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Mrunmayee, and I'm currently working as an embedded controls engineer with LHP. Prior to joining here, this position, I took the Intro to Autonomous Mobility course, and this training that I did back in September 2020 was a very exciting time, and I'm glad I could be here to share my experience with you. So the autonomous mobility course I took was in September 2020, and taking this training program and doing an internship helped me to prepare myself for the real world, because the world outside of university lecture halls is really different. And as Mike mentioned earlier, the course is structured with hands-on teaching methods. So because of that, I was able to practice my coding skills. I was able to understand the application and process flows that goes in building an autonomous car, and solve problems and make sense of the high CAN communication and automotive protocols. Because to get good at whatever doubts I had, I was constantly getting help from TAs. Wherever I got stuck, I was able to approach instructors and senior interns and engineers. I was able to keep questioning about the things I was doing until I was clear about the concept and I have found a solution to it. So the team environment really helped me. It helped me encourage, it kept me encouraged throughout my job search. It helped me freely facilitate exchange of ideas. Whatever doubts I had, I was able to communicate it with others. And as opposed to online courses where none of this is achievable, I was able to understand the theory and practice coding, and I was able to drive and control my hardware machinery by providing it impulses through my software logic. So this was a great experience for me, and I would say if you want to be a step ahead of the competition, I would definitely suggest taking this training, and it is totally worth it. I literally cannot emphasize this enough. Yeah, with that, I would like to turn it back to Mike. Thanks again.
Thank you, Mrunmayee. We're so happy to have you with LHP. It was a pleasure having you in the class as well, and thank you for sharing your experience. I did want to touch on one point that Mrunmayee said about internships. She did have an internship. Currently, we have many interns, and as a matter of fact, our goal this year is to hire more than 50% of the graduates of this course, of both courses, as interns. We can't offer everyone an internship. It's just, but we do have the need for 50 to potentially 75% of our students that go through get internships, and they're currently working on R&D projects for LHP, and most of them actually get jobs prior to the end of their internship. So Marimai was the same situation there. She came to work for us in the midst of her internship. So many people can expect to have that same experience. So thank you, Marimai. It's great to hear that. The other thing I wanted to make sure I point out before I open it up for questions is, how do you get a hold of us? So you heard John talk. You see John Standiford's information there. You can go on to lhpu.com/contact us. There's a short form you can put in to get your information in there, and we'll contact you immediately to check your availability and applicability to any upcoming classes. Or you can feel free to reach out to John directly. You can find us all on LinkedIn. I mean, I'm always responding to messages on LinkedIn. I'm sure Sarah as well. Any way you feel like you can get a hold of us. We want to make sure we talk to you, understand your unique situation, understand what your goals are, because we're ultimately here for you, to help you achieve your goals in education and in your